What's up, guys, and welcome to our top 10 upcoming fantasy open world RPGs for 2020. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the list. The first game on our list is Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. Now, this is the prequel sequel to the Mount & Blade Warband game we got a couple years back. And if the gameplay we've seen so far lives up to the hype, we can expect Bannerlord to be just as successful. Now, this game melds both strategy and action role-playing, giving the player an immense amount of freedom to explore, raid, and conquer their way through a much expanded game world. There's a single-player campaign that will allow players to develop their own playstyle by progressing their skills as they use them, which I personally love that type of system. Now, this will open up a wide range of perks, and you'll be seeing the world come alive through an economy that is alive and vibrant. There will also be several multiplayer modes for you to challenge your friends, as well as a modding system that we can expect to see everything from siege weaponry to the entire campaigns created from scratch from those with those brilliant creative minds. Now, Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord is expected to be available March 31st, 2020. Next on our list is Trials of Mana, and Trials of Mana is a full-blown 3D remake of a game that came out all the way back in 1995, 25 years ago. This will have fans of the original salivating as the graphics look absolutely amazing. Now, we can expect a rich storyline and one that will have a multitude of possibilities, as players will begin the game choosing one of three characters to be their main and the other two to be their sidekicks. And then players will expect the story and dialogue options to be tailored based upon which characters they've chosen, which is really awesome because replayability is to the max. Now, you're going to expect a much more action-oriented combat system, which kind of strays from the more traditional JRPG combat, but even that looks incredible. And it has a wide range of skills and abilities for players to meld into combat for their own personal playstyles. Now, Trials of Mana is set to hit the PlayStation 4, PC, and Switch on April 24th, 2020.
The Lightstone is guarded by the elemental Lumina. See if you may borrow his light powers.
Watch out for the enemy!
The one who holds the mana sword gains awesome power.
All right, now next up is what looks to be one of the biggest games for 2020, and that is New World. This is an upcoming buy-to-play open-world MMORPG from our favorite delivery man, Amazon. Now, New World is set in a time of colonialism with a dash of supernatural to take things kind of to another level. New World will give players the ability to form their skills how they choose. Once again, we talk about that. We're seeing more and more companies move to that, more and more games move to that. You're going to be able to create custom builds through your play style, including an endless trade skill progression system. Now, due to Amazon's immense cloud server power, the game will boast servers of up to 1,000 players at a time, and some of the battles are going to be up to 100 characters, which that is going to be epic to see some of those. We can expect a closed beta sometime next month in April 2020 for people who have pre-ordered the game, and New World is expected to be available in May of 2020 for full release. Let's keep our eye on that one because it looks to be very, very promising.
This place, lured by the promise of power and immortality. The darkness will claim you.
Do you really wanna live forever?
Next on our list is a game that's been announced and keeps getting pushed back, but still looks so promising, so we had to add it to the list, and that's Bleak Faith Forsaken. Now we're getting an open world survival horror action RPG with Souls-like combat, and man, does that sound phenomenal. And it may just be if it's pulled off right, but we're gonna have to keep our fingers crossed and see how it comes up. Now, while Souls games of the past have been more linear, this time around these developers, they're looking to give us something a bit more different. Even though we're going to be keeping the tight combat, relying on your skill as a player, as much as your stats of the character. So we'll see how this all plays out, but it looks really promising. Now, Bleak Faith also looks to implement aspects of the game world, including a completely alive ecosystem that allows each playthrough to be wildly different. Your survival won't just be based on your combat skills, though, as you'll have to craft, scavenge, hunt, and fight for your very life at every turn. Now, Bleak Faith was originally slated for a 2019 release, but a recent comment from the developers on their Facebook page says that they're still looking good for Q2 2020. So let's cross our fingers, as this one is one on my to-do list, and I'm definitely going to be playing. All right, now while we're on the subject of Souls-like games, we certainly cannot ignore Elden Ring. Elden Ring boasts some serious creative firepower behind its origin. We've got a collaborative effort behind Miyazaki and Martin, and that looks to be a powerhouse couple right there if I've ever seen one. Now, this will be a third-person open-world dark fantasy RPG that will have slightly less focus on action combat and a bit more focus on the RPG elements, hence kind of the Martin influence. But with that said, the combat is still expected to be very Souls-like. We can expect far more character creation options this time around, and a massive world with multiple kingdoms for gamers to explore. The more we learn, the more we understand there will be options that will guarantee that no two playthroughs will be the same. Elden Ring is expected to release in June of 2020.
Giving life its fullest brilliance. The Elden Ring. Oh, Elden Ring. Shattered by someone or something. Don't tell me you don't see it. Look up at the sky. It burns.
All right, this next game is a bit of an indie title, but still looks to be one that we want to add to any list. The Isles of Adalar gives us an entirely new world to explore, an entirely new IP. And what is even more impressive is that it comes to us from this small team. Now, that team has grown as they've gotten a little bit more money, but it started with just 3 people. You're going to be able to explore the game alone or co-op with your friends. And either way, the game is a massive open world fantasy RPG that can be played in first or third person and has a rich and deep story for players to enjoy. Now, additionally, the game will ship with an integrated level editor and mod support, allowing gamers to create entirely new worlds for the community to adventure in. Now, Isles of Adalar is expected to hit Steam in July of 2020.
I can shed some light on the situation. I guess I never considered that.
All right, so now we're looking at a game that is not only a sequel, but also a prequel, and that's Crimson Desert. This is the successor prequel to Black Desert Online, set in a time long before Black Desert Online. Now, this will be an open-world MMORPG with a heavy focus on storytelling and engaging quests. The player will actually follow the game's story narrative while playing 5 unique mercenaries through a campaign storyline, which could be really interesting. We could also be seeing a lot more PvE focus in this MMORPG, and we'll have to see how that goes, but Pearl Abyss has hinted at that by touting a world filled with diverse range of creatures, large and small, that will be neither friend nor foe. So let's hope for those dungeons and raids that we always wished existed in Black Desert. Now, you can also expect to see a highly polished level of action-oriented combat that we'd come to love in Black Desert. And it looks like many of the economy-based systems of the world will be included as well. So all those nodes and all that fun stuff that for those people that love all that micromanaging, dig into and love like to death. Now, Crimson Desert is set to have an open beta test in late 2020 and will be releasing on both PC and consoles. So let's hope that they stay on target time-wise. All right, next on our list is an interesting one, Godfall. And this is looking to create a genre all of its own, calling itself a third-person looter slasher, which is quite interesting as that is a whole new genre. And it has a third-person melee combat that's fluid, dynamic, and interactive. And basically it's embracing button mashing, offense over defense. Now, the game world is split up into 4 realms, each realm encompassing a different element. And players will play one of the last remnants of an exalted knight's order. And your objective is essentially to prevent the impending apocalypse and save what's left of the world. Just another day in paradise. Now, expect the combat to have a heavy focus on melee with some ranged abilities and ranged weapons, though those will kind of be like on cooldowns and have limited charges. But they're calling it a looter slasher, so we expect there will be a lot of loot. I mean, a lot of loot, especially since you have the Borderlands people involved. Now, gear will actually determine your class, and you will start with one class, but be able to play all of them eventually as you kind of change your armor, and then your class will change. We've seen other games like that, and it's kind of neat to be able to do that. You're also going to be able to team up with 2 of your buddies, so have a co-op of 3 for some cool mashing and slashing. Now, Godfall is expected to hit the PlayStation 5 and the Epic Store for PC during the holiday season of 2020. All right, guys, this next one is one that I'm really looking forward to, and that's Gods and Monsters. And this is an upcoming open-world RPG where players will actually journey to the Isle of the Blessed. Love the open-world concept. It's going to be set in a world of Greek mythology. And as the player, you're going to be tasked with helping the gods restore their lost powers. Which is kind of weird because of what we're about to talk about here in a second. Now, players will actually explore this island, and they're going to be bestowed by the gods with abilities and powers. So the gods lost their powers, but they are going to bestow abilities and powers on you. Okay, maybe they're just lesser powers. Okay, anyways. But you're going to use those powers to then take on a wide range of mythological creatures, including stuff like the Gorgons, Medusa, Cyclops, and the Hydra, amongst many, many others. Now, Gods and Monsters was originally slated for an early 2020 release, and then there was a leak of March 2020, which basically is over right now, so that's not happening. At this point, we're just hoping to see it before the end of 2020, but I think we're not that far from seeing it. So keep those fingers, toes, arms, legs, and eyes crossed that we'll see this soon. All right, last but certainly not least is Towers. And this is a new development title from the team that developed the free-to-play mech shooter Hawken, if anybody remembers that from ages ago. If you haven't, you could search for it on my channel right now because I have a video of it from like 8 years ago. Amazing. But anyways, the idea behind the game is survival and defense, which is really kind of interesting. So you got a little bit of tower defense while you're doing survival. Anyways, you start off by placing a tower and then you build your home base around it. And you'll need to keep everything in balance. Like you can't, slaughter all of the livestock in the area. You've got to make sure you kind of, only take what you need. So you're keeping balance there. This is to keep your economy and your workers happy and keep everything in a good support system. And you got to make sure you keep everybody happy because sooner or later you're going to have all these major evil bad guys coming in that you got to fend off. Now, one way to help in your battle of the game is meant to be played on servers with your friends. So you work together, build together, trade resources, defend against the evil hordes that are hell-bent on your tower's destructions. Now, Towers is a little way away, and to say that it's a 2020 release may be a bit of a stretch, but we're going to go with it, and hopefully, fingers are crossed, we're going to make it happen. All right, guys, so there you have it. Your top 10 upcoming open world fantasy role-playing games for 2020. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you're enjoying these videos and you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell notification to be notified every time we launch a new one. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.